Hi, I'm Michelle Vickers.
And I'm Christine Beverly.
Welcome to the Consciousness Insider.
This week we have our question from Alicia, and Alicia writes, Dear Michelle, I'm wondering about my daughter's allergies. She's so sensitive she reacts to secondary contact on surfaces outside of her home, which is free of her allergens. We cannot go to school safely, which I'm seeing now isn't necessarily a bad thing, and our social life is restricted as we typically avoid most gatherings that include food, which seems to be a lot. I sometimes feel like this challenge is indeed a blessing and has given to us so that I can overcome a pattern wound in the mothers in my matriarchal line. It's as if my children have something so life-threatening and depend on me so vitally that I cannot abandon them or neglect them like the generations of mothers before me. In happy news, I truly believe on a soul level that I found our path to healing her allergies, so I choose to believe they will be overcome in due time. Is this inkling a message that likely came from my soul, an inner knowing of sorts? Or am I just examining this all too deeply? So, in a more general sense, I suppose my question is, are we given specific challenges and opportunities to overcome karmic patterns in our family lineage? And does a soul have to ultimately, consciously choose to rise up to overcome this? I really do feel like I'm the one in my family line to do this work. As hard as it is sometimes, I'm grateful and optimistic that my daughter won't have to pass this on. Thank you, Michelle. Alicia.
First of all, I'm so excited for you because, your amount of wisdom and clarity already is phenomenal. It just goes to show, how much you just feel and you just get it. So yes to so much of what you're saying. We are meant to have very particular experiences in this life. We choose our lives. So in that understanding, we are choosing the experiences that we're having. So yes, there are, everything from diseases to allergies, it's all encompassing on what we're choosing to experience. And yes, it's up to us to decide what we're going to overcome. And that's the really interesting part actually about what you're asking. And energetically, most people don't get that. They don't understand that they need to work on themselves inside in order to make a ripple effect to the outside and what's going on physically, whether it's cancer, whether it's, any kind of disease that hits us, or allergies or anything. I mean, even stubbing a toe, as crazy as that may sound, it's all part of the bigger picture. And what your soul is saying for you right now, which is really, really cool, is, you're in such an incredible time of immense growth. Those are the words that they're using. So immense growth, and basically, it's really cool. I'm seeing your awareness. It's just expanding exponentially right now. And what that means most often is it looks like on a physical level that nothing is quite settled. Everything is a little bit off. Everything feels off. Everything in your life, it's just like they're showing me, it's like connections they're just not quite making it. And they just kind of miss, and you'll be saying something to someone and it doesn't quite land properly. Everything's just a little bit of a miss. And when those types of things happen, especially for you, it is really a deep reflection that you're going through immense change and your perspective is growing at a rate that your brain is having a hard time keeping up with everything that's going on. So first and foremost, there's nothing wrong. Everything's all great. It's all incredible. And what your soul really wants you to understand that, the best way to empower yourself right now is about allowing yourself to follow through on what you're feeling, okay? Because what happens for you is you'll have a feeling and you'll have an instinct that you want to do a certain thing, or you want to move in a certain direction, or you don't want to move. And you will change the way you follow through based on what your mind thinks others are going to want to see, hear, or feel, or do. Does that make sense?
It does.
So ultimately, for you right now, yes, keep following what your soul is saying. You know, your daughter, yes, she chose you for a reason. And absolutely, you know, she's got really strong energy, and she's very, her energy is very dynamic. And it's also, regal isn't quite the right word. It's very powerful. And to me, you know, when I see masculine energy and feminine energy, masculine is very like standing present and being really solid and comfortable in who you are. And feminine energy is the ability to flow and be flexible. But I feel that she's a little bit of feminine energy, but she's very strong in the masculine side, in the ability to be really comfortable and strong in who she is. And ultimately, her overcoming these really immense challenges. But here's the thing, you know, not being able to go to school, that was more of a dynamic issue. You know, it was more important for her to learn strength of character, which is really hard to learn in a school environment. It's just not taught. You know, we're taught to obey and to behave in school. And for the most part, not all schools are like that, don't get me wrong. But that's really more of how, you know, you fall in line. And her mission here in this life is to empower people. And if she was taught to obey, there's no way she would have that instinct and that awareness to empower. And you having to take care of her in the way that you have, in the sense of protecting, keeping her safe. You know, you taught her to empower herself and to be able to stand up and say, okay, I can't go there. It's not safe. And ultimately, if you feel the bigger picture for her, she's going to be able to teach people how to not go there because it's not safe, but which will have nothing to do with physical. It will have everything to do with emotional and mental. Does that make sense?
Wow, it does.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So, you know, this is a huge dynamic that she needed to have. And I've done other episodes talking about, you know, how souls come in and all of that, but it's a really incredible opportunity for you to see just how important being yourself is to her evolution. So it's not about being who you think you need to be for her. It's actually just being who you are. And, you know, you were talking about breaking patterns for generations. Every single time which I love that question, by the way, because it's one of the foundations that I built my business on in helping people break those patterns. You know, that's why I look at mine every single day. I'm so dedicated to looking at my stuff because I don't want my son to have that in him. So yes, to your point, 100%. Every time you work through something, you create that opening in your DNA and for your whole ancestral line, you break those patterns. So it does. It takes work. It takes effort to see things that you don't want to see, and it takes effort to want to change family dynamics that are almost tradition. You know, for my family, the biggest one, the physical side, was for us to choose to no longer eat meat. That changed the dynamic of every single holiday. You know, my family constantly saying, well, why? And then questioning, but it changes because all of our holidays were built around meals and celebrating, you know, Christmas and Thanksgiving, and all of those holidays are just based on an animal and consuming it. And so it was a strategic choice on my part for what was right for us. And that's the point with it's breaking that cycle. And it doesn't mean that anything is bad. It means you're making the best choice for you, and it's up to everybody else to make the best choice for them. And when we allow each other to make our best choices, you know, right now we don't commonly get together with our family anymore for those big holidays, but we spend great time with them at other times of the year. And it works out amazingly because then there's no discomfort for anyone. So that's how we've found that it works for us. And, you know, it's always about allowing yourself and everyone else in the picture to make your own decisions. And that's really, I think, what's ensured my family and in the success in our family really is that I don't have expectations. They don't have expectations of me. And we just go about our business. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So thank you so much. These are really, really amazing questions. And I'm so glad you asked them because they're so integral to our evolution as human beings, but also evolving on a soul level in physical life. So thank you. Amazing, amazing questions. I really appreciate you digging so deeply and sharing those questions that maybe make you a little bit uncomfortable. Those are the ones that help everyone else who's watching today that much more.
I really appreciate when people are wondering about the bigger picture to everything going on in their life. It's wonderful. Thank you so much for sending in your question. And thank you to everyone else who joined us today. We love having you with us. And if you'd like to have your question answered, please visit our michellevickers.com website and the Consciousness Insider, I'll get it out just a minute, Conscious Insider page. And there's a form there for you to complete and fill out your question. And perhaps we'll ask it in one of our upcoming episodes. Thanks again.
Thanks so much. Have a great week. Bye now.
Bye-bye.